Another week brings another big rivalry series for UND, and we're breaking it all down on this week's edition of North Dakota Hockey Central, your television home for all things UND hockey. I'm Alex Heinert. Coming up on this week's show, we'll get head coach Brad Berry's take on North Dakota's emotional two-game series against Minnesota before previewing their next top 5 test at St. Cloud State. We will also continue our look back at some of the best moments in Ralph Engelstad Arena history, even if they didn't involve UND. But first, let's check in with the latest episode of UND Insider's web series, Through These Doors.
I'm doing a little campaign here in the month of December. That was the month 13 years ago I was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes, and I thought it'd be kind of a good cause for the month of December to donate some money to the Canadian Diabetes Foundation. I have the link in my Instagram bio. And I made a post about it, so for every like it gets, I'll donate 40 cents to it, and every goal that UND men's hockey scores, I'll add $15 to that as well, and that all goes towards research for a cure of diabetes, and it's something that's pretty important to me, and if people want to go like my post so that I can donate more, if people want to donate, I have the link in my bio.
For the fall of 2021, an unprecedented 2 new North Dakota hockey jerseys have been introduced.
We normally don't have new jerseys. Like our tradition, we don't normally have new jerseys every year. So the design process normally takes around 1.5 to 2 years. So obviously we were supposed to have the national jerseys for last year. But we had to kind of combine both new jerseys into 1 year, which we didn't really want to do, but we just had to with the national event being this year. And then no deck jerseys have been designed for about 1.5 years, so we wanted to make sure we got those out to the market and our guys wearing them.
Yeah, it's definitely really exciting. Obviously not every year we get new jerseys, and I think obviously they did an extremely good job on both of them. So I think for us to see both jerseys, kind of having 2 of those surprises was pretty sweet, and they obviously did a really good job on them.
So obviously really cool for us. Also we kind of get some nice sweatshirts with it as well. I'm actually wearing the one from Nashville, so we're all pretty excited about that as well. And I think just walking into the room and seeing the jerseys for the first time in person is one of the coolest things. I think always gets a big reaction from us.
Time, dedication, and creativity are the key factors in creating something new.
The no-deck jerseys, we work with a great team at Adidas. Designer Eric Bodmer, he's an awesome guy. He's from Buffalo, New York, where I'm from, so we kind of have a connection there. We kind of just go back and forth. We probably have 12 to 15 mock-ups of jerseys that we can choose from, and from there we kind of just make slight changes to them. Once we have a final one picked, they make a physical jersey sample, and that's our last go around to our last chance to make any final changes that we need.
I really like just like the plain white and with the green details on the white ones. I really like that style. It's a bit different from the usual white ones because I think they have a bit more black, and I really like the white shoulders, and I just think the Nashville jerseys look sick because with the other font on the North Dakota and on the numbers too, so just overall great jerseys.
Yeah, it was awesome. I remember they brought in a mannequin into the locker room and showed us the whole jersey, and it was unreal. Just the reaction that we all had. We were all just so excited to wear them for the first time, and then walking in the locker room on Saturday, wasn't really expecting anything different, and then we just saw those jerseys hung up, and you could hear it was louder in here for sure, and everyone was really ready to go and wear them, and wanted to keep that undefeated record with them.
Definitely pretty sweet. I know we didn't expect that at all. We had no idea that was coming. Obviously, like you said, with the Nashville jerseys, we kind of expected those. But yeah, with the mannequin in the room and they uncovered it, and it was pretty exciting for us. So.
For the team, putting new gear in the rotation creates a buzz on game day.
For sure, I think obviously looking to our black business suits, we know every time those are in our stalls, it's kind of sending a message. So now that we have the ones at home too, I think there's just another kind of message that can be sent. And obviously every time we have our business suits out, we know that it's extra incentive to kind of really dial it in and obviously take that message that's been sent.
Yeah, the business suits on the road are pretty cool. The guys love when we pull out the black jerseys. For my sake of things, these white no-deck jerseys are a little bit more work putting the helmet stickers on the helmets and the gloves. So we got to make sure we got to make sure the gloves were broken in so they were ready to wear them at any point. So I'm hoping we wear them for 3 or 4 times a season when the guys do need a little bit of a bump. It was kind of funny this past weekend. After Friday's tough loss, I think a lot of guys expected that we were going to wear these no-deck jerseys, and I actually hung up our normal white jerseys. They normally see me hanging up the jerseys before they leave for the day, before they leave after morning skate. So I hung up all the white jerseys, set up the room as normal, and after all the players left, I took them all down and then hung the no-deck jerseys up, so when they came back, it was a complete surprise to them. But I think having a home jersey that is an alternate, not only for our players, but for our fans to be able to see something different is really cool.
It's just a little bit different. We actually called these ones our white business suits, so it's a different feeling, I guess, just around those jerseys. Kind of just puts you in a different mindset, just ready to go. Because especially wearing them for the first time, you want to get a win in them and show the fans a good game in the first time you're going to wear them.
Well done to Cassie Niles and the Through These Doors crew, and congrats to that team on finalizing their 200th episode. Speaking of milestones, North Dakota and Minnesota played for the 300th time against each other this weekend. Brad Berry will stop by to talk about a pair of hotly contested games against the Gophers when North Dakota Hockey Central returns. Welcome back to North Dakota Hockey Central. Time to check in now with UND head coach Brad Berry, who comes to us from inside Ralph Engelstad Arena. Brad, as always, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks, Alex. Great to be here.
This past week brought the return of your oldest rival to Grand Forks as Minnesota made the trip to the Ralph for just the second time in the last 9 years. These meetings with the Gophers are always special, and this weekend was no different.
Yeah, no, it always excitement when you have Minnesota coming into your building, or even we're going on the road into their building. There's a tradition and history there. There's an excitement for our fans, our coaches, and certainly our players really look forward to that weekend. So it was great to reignite that rivalry series again here.
Friday's game started well for your group, but penalty trouble derailed what was a promising opening. That's kind of been a constant thorn in your team's side this year, hasn't it?
Yeah, it has. And, I think coincidentally, it's usually on the Friday nights that seem to be where we take the penalties, and then obviously after talking about it, and believe us, we talk about it all during the week before we get into it. And I think when you get into those series with the emotions riding high, that's where you're really going to have to be disciplined playing against very good teams, not to take the retaliatory penalties like we did on Friday night.
Minnesota built a 3-goal lead after 2 periods, but your team fought back to make it interesting down the stretch. What did you see that keyed that comeback?
Well, there was a resiliency there. It wasn't our best 2 periods, best 40 minutes leading up to the 3rd period, but, we were still close enough in that game where, if we put 20 minutes together, there was a chance for us to win the game, and I thought we did make a push there in the 3rd period. But like I said, against good teams, you can't give them at least 1 or a 2-goal lead and try to chase games all the time. You have to try to lead games, and we saw from the first half of the season here, when we lead games and get the first goal, we're pretty good. It's when you have to start chasing games that it's a 50-50 chance of trying to win that game.
Saturday's contest felt different right from the start, beginning with a pregame lap from former UND star and 1980 Olympic team member Dave Christian. I'm not sure you'd find a better way to roll into a game than that.
Yeah, for sure. We have a very young group in our locker room here, and Dave played here a long time ago, but he was a very important part of our history and tradition here of being very impactful individually, but also collectively with his team that played here from 77 to 79. Our guys loved it when he came out after the opening anthem there and was with our guys as far as being in that one more shift tradition that we have here. And again, it's a situation where we always want to try to honor the guys that came before us.
Yeah, special night there. Once Dave left the ice and the game began, you were the aggressor, and it paid off with the goal from Gavin Haynes just 3.5 minutes in.
Yeah, it was a good goal. We talked about the night before of getting more pucks than that. First of all, getting in the offensive zone, but once we were there, getting more pucks than that and then having that front traffic. And I thought that line of Schmaltz, Senden, and Hayne did a good job of getting in there. And, Senden rolled up around the side and he whipped the puck to the net, and Gavin Hayne was right at the doorstep to tip it in there. So, those are situations that we try to work on in practice every week, but also try to put those into effect during the game, and we really needed that early in the game to get us going.
Senden would score in the second and third to help you build a 3-0 advantage. And then the Gophers wouldn't go down easy, though. How did you feel your team managed the lead over the final 10 minutes of that third period?
Yeah, you know what? I thought for the first 10 minutes, I thought we had the game in hand and, really, made it a 200-foot game. We had a 3-0 lead there, and, we got pucks deep and really kind of wore the clock down with 4 lines, grinding it down and still getting some good opportunities offensively. And we were playing to win. And then we took a penalty in the latter part of the period where I think it was Brady Ferner and another player on their team got into it a little bit, and there was they took them both to the box, and now it's a 4-on-4 situation. So that opens up more ice for the other team, and on that 4-on-4 we took another penalty. So it went down to 4-on-3, and sure enough they score a goal on our penalty kill to get within 2. So when you play 5-on-5 hockey, that's when you really, I think that's our strength of our team, and when you get to those specialty team situations, and normally we have very good specialty teams, but on that given play we gave up that goal, which gave them momentum.
In the end, though, you would close out Game 2 with the 3-2 win to earn the split. After the disappointment of Friday, how good did this one feel?
It was a really good feeling. It's just because, I don't know, at North Dakota here, there's an identity in our culture here that, we very rarely, when we lose a game, that we have a poor effort the next night. There's a respond, there's a pushback always within our group, and to know that, we pushed back and got the win, that was even a bonus, and to a situation where, our culture's in a good spot here as far as accountability and making sure that, we want to play to a high level. And, there are some nights when you're not your best, but at the end of the day, we have to make sure that the majority of our guys, if not all of our guys, are bringing their best to give us a chance to win each and every night.
Now, you can't dwell on Saturday's success, of course, as you take on another top 5 team on the road this week in St. Cloud State. Your team, to a man, has said they love getting to face top opponents week after week. Do you feel the same way?
Same, yeah, absolutely. We're facing another top team in our league here, and we're back into NCHC play, and the other storyline on this is we're on the road for the last 4 games of the first half of the season. So, we're going into an environment where they've had some success in St. Cloud. They're an older, experienced team. They've got a lot of fifth-year players back due to COVID, and they play on this Olympic-size sheet, which we'll practice on the Ralph on our Olympic-size sheet to get ready for that. So, we're looking forward to get back on the road against a top team and playing that road mentality of a game we have to play.
You just mentioned it. This weekend does bring your first games on an Olympic ice sheet this season. Do we read too much into the different rink dimensions being a factor, or is it tough to adjust when you only play 1 or 2 weekends on the bigger sheet each year?
Yeah, you know what? Basically, it's the same game. The only time where it gets in, I think it gets into a differentiation is for specialty teams. As far as your penalty kill, we're aggressive penalty kill, and having those triggers or those times when you have to be aggressive and when you have to make sure you're protecting the middle of the ice. Power play too. That you got to make sure that you don't get spread out too far on a big rink and have close support for those retrievals. So specialty teams are a big deal, but also for the goaltenders, I think too, getting shots from different angles. With entry plays coming in, it's a wider rink, so the puck can cross the ice a little bit wider and making sure that you're on your angle. So, I think those are the 2 most important things, but at the end of the day, it's still playing hockey and playing as a 5-man unit out there.
Yeah, well, it is going to be another fun weekend to watch your group in action against the fellow national title contender once again. Enjoy the experience, Brad, and good luck in St. Cloud this weekend.
Yeah, absolutely, Alex. Thank you very much.
North Dakota Hockey Central continues after this with a look back at the night that Ralph helped produce one of the biggest upsets in college hockey history. Holy Cross enters the chat after the break. Welcome back. Since its debut in 2001, Ralph Engelstad Arena has seen its share of memorable moments, but the building has never been louder than in the aftermath of Holy Cross's stunning upset of top-seeded Minnesota in the 2006 NCAA West Regional. Let's listen now as Crusaders head coach Paul Pearl and Grand Forks Herald beat writer Brad Schlossman relive a weekend Grand Forks still talks about 15 years later.
West Region. First round action, Ralph Engelstad Arena in Grand Forks, North Dakota.
UND hadn't hosted a regional, Grand Forks hadn't hosted one in decades. Fans were just so excited to see an NCAA tournament game here. And then you look at the field and you've got North Dakota, Minnesota, Michigan. And of course the team that everyone ended up talking about it when it was all over, Holy Cross.
We had an older team. You know, we had kids who had played for me for 2, 3, 4 years. Half of that team had been to the NCAAs in '04. And I think having all those kids back 2 years later, they knew what to expect going into the game and felt a little more comfortable in that limelight. We talked about it right from when we won our league that we thought we had a chance to win. So it wasn't, we weren't just showing up to participate, you know.
The Gophers were fantastic that year. Just a loaded team.
They were number one all year, if you remember, like all year. Like they were preseason number one, ran through the year number one. And then I want to say they lost like 2 or 3 out of their last 4. So we probably caught, I mean, like anything else, we caught them at a good time.
UND was playing the late game against Michigan. Everyone's kind of waiting for that Gophers to blow out Holy Cross the first game and get on to North Dakota, Michigan.
You know, you have that type of profile on their roster. It's human nature. They can't not look past you. We scored first, which is always big.
Dale Reinhardt makes it 1-0 Holy Cross. This is exactly what the Crusaders were hoping for, to draw first blood.
Yeah, listen to the crowd here for the Sioux. I mean, this is like playing at home.
The support of the Nodak fans, it was incredible. When we hit the second period, it was a pretty even game. When they went up 3-2, we answered.
We are going to overtime. Holy Cross, the underdog here tonight, matching the Gophers blow for blow.
The whole play started in our defensive zone, and our D-man fell down, and their guy kind of shake and baked him, and then he jumped up and poked it off his stick. It was a culmination of how that team played.
Here comes McGregor in over the line on the left wing side. Try to throw it out in front. They score! In one of the biggest upsets, maybe the biggest, in NCAA men's hockey history, 4-seed Holy Cross has knocked off top-seed Minnesota 4-3 in overtime.
I remember just looking up in the crowd, and the crowd was going bonkers. Like, it was insane. I'm like, where are we? Like, they drop us into the middle of Worcester here or something. Like, people were literally going nuts. And I mean, it wasn't necessarily love of the Crusaders as much as just absolute hate of the Gophers. But hey, who cares? You know, it was great for us.
That was the first time a 4 had beaten a 1. I was sitting next to the Holy Cross student announcers. They freaked out after the goal. Their clip went viral in the early days of going viral.
McGregor from the right side, centering feed. Oh my God! Yes! Oh, score!
I don't want to downplay our guys either. That wasn't some like Cinderella thing. Like we had a good team, and it was a Cinderella thing. But the reason it happened was those players I had. I mean, they were a good, solid team. Like where all the parts really made for a huge sum. As Rocky said, we didn't want a rematch. We didn't want to play the next day. You know what I mean?
Just awesome. North Dakota would end the Crusaders' Cinderella run one day later on their way to a Frozen Four berth, but that doesn't diminish what Holy Cross pulled off, the first 4 seed to beat a 1 seed in men's college hockey history. We will shift back to the present after the break to preview another massive NCHC series on the way for UND. A look at Hawks versus Huskies is up next here on North Dakota Hockey Central. Time now to catch you up on the latest goings-on around college hockey, starting with this week's USCHO.com poll, where for the 4th week in a row, we see a different team atop the rankings. Minnesota Duluth is now number 1 after Minnesota State split with Lake State this past weekend, and they are one of 6 NCHC teams in the top 12 once again this week. Conference play returns this weekend as Western travels to Miami and CC goes to Omaha, while Duluth and Denver have non-conference road trips on tap. The lone series that features a pair of ranked teams in the league will take place at the Brooks Center as number 5 St. Cloud State hosts number 7 North Dakota in a rematch of last year's Frozen Face-Off title game. UND got the win that night in Grand Forks, but the Huskies are the reigning national runners-up and present another challenge for this Fighting Hawks squad. Number 7 North Dakota, number 5 St. Cloud State. Game 1 begins Friday at 7:30 p.m., while Game 2 starts Saturday at 6 p.m. You can watch both games live on Midco Sports. Enjoy what should be another great weekend of college hockey, and then join us to hear all about it on the next episode of North Dakota Hockey Central. Until then, on behalf of our Midco Sports crew, I'm Alex Heinert. Thanks for watching.